Yes.
Hi Tara, how are you doing today?
Real good, thank you.
All right, so thank you for letting me observe your first grade guided reading lesson. It was really great to see the different small groups that you had going with the different lessons. And so today I just have a list of questions that we're just going to kind of go over about the lesson that you had. We'll just kind of reflect and discuss.
Right, certainly.
So first I have, what was the most effective part of your lesson, do you feel?
Well, I think the most effective part is when the students can decode a book together.
Yes.
The guided reading approach allows me to prompt as needed, model those decoding strategies. I think they were excited to look at those short vowel words. Those ending in S, they really picked up on that. And I think the phonics search activity at the end was beneficial to them.
I think that was a really good activity to have. So we went over the book, The Big Red Hat. It's a Haggerty book. And so I really liked things within this lesson that you did. I love the thinking about reading questions that you asked the kids. I think that really engaged them.
Right.
And then I really liked reviewing these words to know. I think that really got them ready to read the books that were there. So I thought that was very effective. What elements would you think that should be shared with other teachers?
I think that I would integrate that think aloud there, those questions at the end. You can do those at different levels as well. The think and share, or the think and search, discussion prompts. I think that helps to build their comprehension.
Definitely.
It reinforces those phonics skills kind of all in one.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I really like how these Haggerty books have that. I think it's a really great resource to use. Let's see. How would you change the lesson for any future instruction? So I know we started the lesson out with you had students read together, taking turns. Then you guys reviewed the think aloud, thinking about reading questions that were right there, think and search. You had a discussion portion, and then there's a little phonics activity. Then you reviewed some of those words. So is there anything you would change?
A lot of that is all in small group, and I think the students sometimes count on each other, so I would definitely put more independent practice in after the reading.
Yep.
In the past, I've given them a short vowel sorting center. I think an activity like this does reinforce those skills. Sometimes I have the students take a highlighter and they can find their S endings.
I like that.
Look, it really makes that S ending more of the focus of the book that they were. It really draws to attention those S endings.
I think that's a really great phonics skill and an independent skill that those kids can use.
Right.
How would you like to improve instructional strategies throughout this lesson?
Well, I think you always want to look for differentiation strategies, especially for those students who are early finishers. I also have a number of students who I see are just needing those decoding supports, those extra supports.
Yeah.
So there's always differentiation, even though I've kind of leveled out the small groups. I find that within the small groups, I still have to do that.
Definitely. So then I just have a few questions here that we can kind of discuss about kind of some of your teaching practices as a whole, but also a little bit focused on this specific lesson. So how did you were you responsive to diversity of your students?
Okay, well, all the students are grouped with similar phonics lessons. And we did that pretty much at the beginning of the year after some of their initial assessments. Then I provide some verbal prompting to a student who might be struggling with the blends. I also praise frequently.
I did notice that. I noticed a lot of praise.
I think what's really important about this time of the school year is to build that confidence.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the skills come along, but if we could just build that confidence coming in here after the first quarter, then I think we just have more independent readers.
Definitely. And I think your groups were very flexible. I saw that students were able to kind of challenge each other, but also skills were pretty similar to where they were all learning kind of that same thing. And I think that's the most important thing with having them continue to learn some of these big phonics skills is having those group settings to support each other. Let's see, what were the successes of this lesson? So one thing that I saw is I really felt that your students were, it was successful by, they were understanding the phonics skill. A lot of them were understanding the short vowel sound. And so is there anything specific that you felt that was successful?
Well, I like to see the students read with confidence, especially by the second round of the book. They could correctly identify those short vowels in the words. I noticed a lot of the phonics search was very independent. I was proud of that. And I think that the more I'm asking them to do independently, the more I see those confidence skills build. And just their phonics search successes are better.
Definitely mastering those skills, which is great. So I know our school district this year has a big focus on the science of reading and how we can integrate some of those strategies. Were there any important theories that you felt that you kind of integrated into this lesson?
When I think about the science of reading, what I like to see is that connection between that phonics-based instruction and the focus that we have on not only decoding, but the relationship it has with sound and symbol relationships. Definitely. So that comes from the science of reading, and I really try to implement that every time I'm asking the students.
One thing too that I saw you do with the science of reading is when kind of going over, obviously Heggerty calls them red words, which are typically our sight words.
Right.
Again, our sight words are not words that we typically can just sound out, but you did a really good job kind of supporting the students as they were reading those with the connection to the science of reading and knowing that it doesn't always sound the way that it looks.
Right.
So that was something that I saw that I thought was really good.
Thank you. Yes.
Let's see. So how was instruction differentiated to meet the different needs? So I know you had different groups going on at this time. How do you differentiate instruction?
Right. I provide the scaffolding by reading the first page with them, and then I gradually release that responsibility to the students. I also try to target questions based on each student's responses.
Awesome.
So yeah,
I think that's great. How do you assess students? So what assessment information do you use to gather as part of the lesson? How do you monitor for understanding?
Right. As far as small group, it's just very formative. Oral responses during the discussion. I'm listening for those coding accuracies. Today I was looking for independent short vowel responses. We did do a short vowel worksheet at the end. So all of those are really just short, informal assessments.
Definitely. I think that's great. A great way for you as a teacher to kind of determine where students fall. So I know specifically in this lesson, you did not have any technology.
No, not today.
Is there technology that you tend to integrate into guided reading or just like phonics lessons in general?
No, sometimes we do. We do use the iReady magnetic letter tiles. We have some smartboard phonics reviews. The kids do tend to like that when when they're looking at the screen and having a little bit more interactive review with
kind of hands-on is exciting for the students. So just lastly, just some suggestions that we have. So I think next week, and I'll give some suggestions and then just a little game plan from here on out. So I think just continuing that small group work is really great for the students, but I think we can extend that by going on. It seemed like most of your students had mastered their short vowels and that S ending sound. So I have a few books here. We have another Heggerty with CVCE, so that silent E long vowel focus. I think that's kind of the next step that you could take with this group, really focusing on long vowel words. And then for some of those groups who aren't not quite ready to move on to long vowel words, I have another short vowel book that they can review. This one also focuses on that S sound. So I think that next week we can go ahead and integrate these in with your guided reading groups, and then we can meet again and kind of discuss how those lessons go.
Okay.
So do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't.
All
Thank
right.
you for observing.
Thank you.
Yes.